Yeah. Speaking of beating up on a team, Philly just got swept away, man. Be honest, is the process over in Philadelphia?
The process is done. They were 2 years away from being 2 years away. They had it, they were planning with Embiid, sit the year out. Ben Simmons sit the year out. We're going to be a championship team. And, the process was started. Even his name, Embiid, he named himself the process, and that's ended. Do a 180 Embiid now. Like, I think this whole Sixers organization needs to do a 180. I think they started the right way. And that was going to be building through Ben Simmons. And what they did was, I think they retracted that. And because Ben Simmons wasn't shooting, they started trying to build through Embiid, who I think has the bigger heart for that team. But it's probably a better situation to build around Ben Simmons and shooters in today's NBA. You see it with Giannis. You see it with the way that these teams are setting up. And I think they got in their mindset. They're like, you know what? We got to surround Embiid to become more of a defensive, gritty team, get more shot creators instead of just shooters. And I think you saw a little bit of switch in Philly. And that's why you sense the inconsistency. I mean, coming into this playoff run, I thought that they had a really good chance to make a deep run with, of course, a healthy Ben Simmons. Yeah. But obviously, we were wrong about that one. And I mean, the process, the coaches got to go. I think there's going to be a big trade, possibly GM move. Process isn't looking too good in Philly right now, my man.
You know what's interesting about both of those players is they both didn't play their rookie seasons, and they both kind of had like injury issues coming into them being drafted,
Yeah.
So it's interesting that they hitched their wagon to two dudes who had a history of being injured. And it's really that's really been what shut the process down, Like we really haven't seen both of those guys in their prime making a deep playoff run. And this was kind of the year we thought like, okay, we're sure we're going to see it. We're going to see if this really works or not. But I think you're right, man. Like, I feel like they just kind of shifted towards building around Embiid instead of just focusing on Ben Simmons. If you look at the league and the way teams are playing now, to try to build around a big man is almost impossible. You look at Ben Simmons, you look at how he's built in his skill set. You kind of look at the Bucks and look at what they've done with Giannis, and you think like, hey, just lean into that, like let this guy get downhill, beat people off the dribble, get to the basket, finish strong, get fouled, and move and beat somewhere else where he can, I don't know, stand outside and shoot threes. I don't know, man. I think that's where they really lost track with this whole thing.
And it's tough because you recognize the talent and you know that Ben Simmons isn't always on the floor. So, like, if he's not always on the floor, we got to have a system that's also built around Embiid, and especially he's probably the more dominant personality in the locker room. But then you get Ben Simmons, who's not going to necessarily be able to play that way, and that's why you sense that friction between the two. Like, that's not – obviously, the team was – you could tell that they were trying to build around Ben Simmons for the long term. And Embiid, when they switched, when they made a move to get Al Horford, when they made the move to get Tobias Harris, instead of keeping around a JJ Redick, you drafted Thibault instead of drafting another shooter. Like, those are some of the moves that you turn into a little bit more gritty team, but now you've eliminated one of your best threats with Ben Simmons. It kind of neutralized the whole situation there. And when you consistently make moves like that, as we're seeing with the Kings, when you consistently make moves that kind of contradict previous moves, it never turns out well, man.
Right. The process doesn't end when you make two draft picks, right? The moves that you make around those two draft picks will help those two draft picks succeed. And you're right, like getting rid of JJ Redick, like to stretch the floor for them doesn't help them at all. Like Matisse Thybulle is a great defender. Like he's a great pickup, but he doesn't shoot the ball at all. Right. You know what I mean? So like all those moves kind of just brought the process to a halt. And, hey, I mean, honestly, and I think about it too, like, as much as, like, I look at them and look like, damn, they got a mess over there. Like, looking at it compared to what we have here in Sacramento, hey, we take that all day, man. We take some playoff losses over just nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Yeah. And it's, I think that's the part is that you can't really – you can't fault them because I think that they have good talent on the roster. Like, you trade – Jimmy Butler and you get a Josh Richardson, you up the defense a little bit. You lose a closer and you lose some shooting. It's like he's good talent. Tobias Harris, good talent. It just I think it just didn't all mesh well together, man. And it's in the East, especially, like there's just some teams that really, really gel. Like we talked about earlier, the Celtics. There's just teams that really gel with the talent, and you got to be able to have that.